Evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to another edition of Emergency Management Associates, coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to welcome everybody who's joined us here on the Emergency Management Associates Network tonight. It presently says that I'm not on the air, so I'm going to stand by for just a few minutes here until we can get here on the air ourselves. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates. Another edition of Emergency Management Associates. Today is Wednesday, June 5th, 2024. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to start off this program with just a little bit of information for you. We've been endeavoring to bring you the latest information we have on all the earthquakes worldwide. Lately, we've told you about earthquakes over on the Big Island of Hawaii. Yes, there have been earthquakes on the Big Island of Hawaii. They pretty much have stopped. Not all, but pretty much have stopped. Now, why do I say this? Folks, we've been watching earthquakes there for a long time. During the past 2 weeks, we've seen an awful lot of earthquakes over in Hawaii. Now I'm going to show you information today that's just a little bit different, okay? A lot of bit different. We had probably 200 earthquakes during the past, well, maybe even more than that, closer to 300 earthquakes on the Big Island of Hawaii during the past week and a half. They started last week at this time. Today, that has reduced to a handful of quakes. I'm going to show you what has happened there. Okay, if you'll just stand by. I have a lot of information for you. Okay, I want to show you what's happened. Now there's about 12 earthquakes on the Big Island. Most of those earthquakes are down south of the town of Pahala. Okay? The town of Pahala. There are 6 earthquakes here. The town of Pahala, folks, is right here. This is where my friend Laura Marie and our friend and fellow family member here on Emergency Management Associates, her daughter and son-in-law and family live here. Laura Marie's grandson graduated from high school earlier this week, or I should say last Friday. These earthquakes here are south of there. These are just minor quakes and tremors. 1.81, 2.30, minor earthquake. 2.74, also a minor earthquake. Going south, a 3.54, a small quake, a 3.54 quake there. And one more there, also a 2.1 minor earthquake. Okay, those are all south of Pahala. Let us go up to Kilauea. Okay, all the earthquakes, or I can't say all, but most of the earthquakes we've seen happen over around Kilauea happened here. Okay, over here on the eastern side of the big volcano, we have a 1.89 tremor. This is Holly Mau Mau crater here. This is Holly Mau Mau crater, and Kilauea is the volcano. Over here, just south of the big volcano here, we have 3 quakes here. A 1.99, 2.0, a 2.50, and another 2.0 right there. Okay? Those are the only, and I'm going to say the only, earthquakes on the Big Island. Okay? Well, I can't say that, I'm sorry. There's one other quake over in Fern Forest right here. This is a 1.95, 2.0 earthquake here in Fern Forest. Fern Forest, if you remember, after Kilauea and Pu'u'o volcano drained out of their lava, there were 2 days later, there were huge fissures that open up here, over here in Fern Forest, and over here in the East Rib Zone, over here in Leilani Estates. Here we have an earthquake. This means there's still magma down here in the East Rib Zone and Fern Forest area. When Pu'u'o'o and Kilauea lava drained out, they drained out and opened up 24 fissures between Fern Forest and Leilani Estates. We're still seeing earthquake activity here. That means there's still magma there. Dustin just gave us a $2 super chat. Thank you so much, Dustin. That means a lot to us. Folks, there is still activity over on the Big Island, but it has come way, way down. Now, I want to show you a picture of what happened over at Kilauea and south of Kilauea during the past 3 days. If you remember Monday morning at 12:30 a.m., there was an eruption. Dustin, I just gave you a EMA sticker on your super chat. We appreciate what you've done. God bless you for that super chat. We appreciate everyone who donates to our program. Over here at Leilani Estates, I want to show, not Leilani Estates, hold on. Over here just south of Kilauea. Okay, I want to show you this right here. As I explained yesterday, this pink area is where lava has erupted here on the volcano. This whole area here is the volcanic caldera. The caldera is where hardened lava here had raised up here. Occasionally we do get fountaining of lava here on the caldera. This is the caldera floor. Okay? It's a floor of the volcano where lava has raised up and hardened. You see here the rim of the volcano. The rim of the volcano is approximately 100 feet higher than the floor of the caldera of the volcano. Okay? As you know, we've had earthquakes up here to the northwest of Kilauea. We've had earthquakes down here to the southeast here. We've also had some earthquakes out here in Fern Forest area. Now, this is where the volcano erupted here. A fissure about 2 3/4 miles long. 2 3/4 mile long opened up. Okay? That was a lot of volcanic eruption. But it only lasted maybe 11 hours. 11 hours. A great big huge long fissure opened up and poured lava all over this area here. But it wasn't that much lava. Let me explain. Okay? I have a great explanation for what happened. Now, a lot has come to pass over the past, I want to say, 36 hours since the volcano stopped erupting, basically. Okay? A lot has happened. Let me tell you what has been going on. This is a good story. This is a very good story, actually. On June 3rd at 12:30 a.m. Monday morning, there was the eruption, and people were startled that it had happened. Some scientists didn't even believe it, even though there were plenty of earthquakes all around that area. All of a sudden, about 11 a.m. to 12 a.m. Hawaii time, the lava stopped. It paused. Now it's been 48 hours since that lava paused. Now they're saying it's been 48 hours since it stopped. It's unlikely to restart. The HVO, the Hawaii Volcano Observatory, has lowered the volcanic alert level for Kilauea. The ground-based hazards have been from watch to advisory. The ground-based hazards have been lowered from earthquake volcanic watch to advisory. And the aviation color code has been reduced from orange watch level to yellow advisory level. The lava stopped erupting from the fissure just after 9 a.m. Hawaii Standard Time on Monday morning. It completely stopped at about 11. The lava flows stagnated by noon on Monday. There were tremors. There were a lot of tremors. And with the fissure event that happened, fissures erupting up to 30 to 60 feet high. But it stopped. The incandescence remained at the fissure for 2 days until today. The incandescence is where you can see the orange-red areas where the lava was at the top of the fissure that had erupted. The fissure events have decreased substantially over the past even 48 hours, making it highly unlikely, according to the scientists at the HBO, that the eruption will resume. Overall seismicity and deformation. The deformation was a land rise from magma underneath the ground coming up, causing the land to rise. And the subsidence, the ground going back down after the lava had erupted. Overall seismicity, earthquakes, and deformation in the summit area will remain low, very low. They don't expect it to continue. While the ground has ceased erupting and the ground has subsided, gone back down. With that decreasing, volcanic ash emissions at the eruption site remain well above background levels. Yesterday, we told you about 10,000 tons of SO2, sulfur dioxide, coming from the fissure area has risen up to 100 tons per day. 100 tons of SO2 per day, with sulfur dioxide emissions rate of 5,500 tons today, coming down from 10,000 tons per day. Sulfur dioxide levels are still there, remain hazardous, but it's not as much as it was. It has gone way, way, way down. Okay? They don't expect it to come back. Yesterday, they measured sulfur dioxide levels at 12,000 to 15,000 tons per day. That happened between Monday morning and Tuesday morning. Okay? So it's come way down. The new eruption that began on June 3rd, Monday, I showed you on the map. It's gone way, way, way down. And like I said, they don't expect it to come back. At least they hope it doesn't come back. Now, there's a lot of speculation as to what has happened and what may still happen. Now, I want to show you another picture here. I'm sorry. I had another picture here that kept coming up, and it's still coming up here. Right here. Again, you see Holly Mau Mau crater. Holly Mau Mau crater right here, and the Kilauea volcano here. The east or the southern rift zone coming away from Holly Mau Mau crater is right here. This is a fissure system that opened up. Okay? As you can see, there's been a lot of landfall here coming from the Mauna Loa volcano to the northwest. Okay? There's been a lot of landfall. You see these rift zones here. Okay? You see this rift zone here. This is where the fissure eruption happened. Down here, we see the Kauai fault zone. Down here, we see the Halana slump area. Halana Pai roadway here, the highway here. This is where the Helena slump is. This is the landslide area. We talked a lot about that yesterday. This is where it happened. This is where the fissure opened up on Monday. I want to show you this. This is a new slide that USGS provided us. Okay? new information. Now, is this going to continue? No, it's not. Hopefully, they say it has subsided and it's going to completely stop now. That's what they hope. Now, folks, do I believe them? I have to believe them. Okay? We've been working around and with the Hawaii Volcanic Observatory for quite some time, since about 2019. The rift zone eruption that happened Monday is only the second time that it erupted in that same area. The last time was December 1974. They are hoping it doesn't re-erupt. Okay? That map depicted the activity on the eruption's first day on Monday. New lava flows we show you are in red. Okay? Those lava flows only cover about 88 acres. 88 acres. A total of 36 hectares in Europe. 88 acres, 36 hectares of ground were covered by the lava within the very short relative distance of the eruptive fissure. Okay? 4 eruptive fissures we marked in yellow were active on June 3rd. And they have been informally called fissures 1, 2, 3, and 4, running from up rift towards Kilauea, down rift southwest. Okay? The eruption occurred in close proximity to the other older flows from the December 1974 eruption. The last eruption in this area occurred, like I said, in December 1974. The 74 eruption was a continuous flow for 6 hours. 6 hours before that eruption ended, compared to 8.5 hours from this recent eruption. That's why the Volcanic Observatory was very surprised. They were wondering exactly how long it would be erupting, and it erupted only 2 hours longer than the previous eruption back in 74. That's a long time. That is a very long time. So now we're talking about 60 years. Basically 60 years. The Hawaii Volcanic Observatory is continuing to closely monitor Kilauea for signs of renewed activity. They believe that any more eruptive activity will actually be in the crater area. If the magma should rise up and melt holes in that lava floor, the caldera area of the volcano, then there will be new fountaining. And that's where they believe it was going to happen. Like I said before, a new volcanic activity notice was issued today. It went from orange level, which was a watch level, to an advisory level, which is an aircraft advisory level of yellow. No unusual activity has been detected in the middle or lower east rift zone, meaning over in Fern Forest up to Leilani Estates. No unusual activity has been detected there. That's pretty much normal. Occasionally we've got an earthquake over in the Fern Forest area or even over towards Leilani Estates, but it is not above normal. Okay? I want to repeat that. Nothing is more than normal right now. I appreciate all of you being here with me. By the way, has everybody here got a good copy on our audio and video? Could someone give me a 5x5 here? I'd appreciate it. Amini Khalidi is here. Welcome. We appreciate you being here. I don't think I've seen you here before. We'd love to have you here. That's fine. Richard Smith from Nova Scotia, Canada is talking about a 2.0 in southern Greece. That's wild. Did you know there's nearly 50 earthquakes in Greece today? Unreal. Adventuring Mike gave us a 5x5 here. Don Patoka, Sweet Polly Purebred. Tammy Steppy just gave us a 5x5. Thank you guys. We appreciate it. Now, we're going to continue with my report tonight. Just a second, I got to take care of a problem here. Hold on. It's interesting how things happen. Okay? It's very interesting how things happen. We get trolls here. We get trolls, and most of these people are from another YouTube site here. I've seen it happen. I've been monitoring it. Kel Griffin is here. Thank you for being here. Linda Covington is here. Linda Covington's asking the question, is this lava sharp, like razor sharp when it dries? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Different flows from the lava came down the ridge there. And it may be brittle. It may be brittle. Different parts of the lava can be very brittle. Some of it obsidian, okay? Some of it could turn into volcanic glass or what they call obsidian, depending on how that breaks. Depending on how that obsidian breaks or other kinds of lava break, it could be very sharp. But it's not usually that way. You can walk on it, you're not going to tear your shoes up too much. It will crunch, it'll wear down your shoes gradually, but it's not very sharp. Demon Cat Mensos says, trolls hide. Yes, they do. It's insane. But anyway, the hazards that are still present at Kilauea are described below, but elevated sulfur dioxide gas emissions are likely to persist for days or even weeks, especially as that lava bed cools. That lava bed cools. While it's still hot, it will emit toxic gases, SO2 and CO2. Okay? Residents and visitors over on Hawaii should stay informed and follow the Hawaii County and Hawaii Volcanoes National Park guidelines. Please do that. For your own safety, follow the guidelines. It's very important. Ann Pickering from the UK is here. She says, love what you're doing. Thank you so much, Ann. God bless you for that. We have quite a few people here from the UK. We appreciate and love each and every one of you. We appreciate everybody that comes here. Now, Don Potok is here. One of my dear friends, my longtime dear friends here, is one of our mods. He says, if you like to speculate, do it in the stock market, not here. Common sense is like deodorant. The folks who need it might never use it. That's so darn true, it's not funny. Richard Smith is here in the chat just pointing out a new earthquake in Central California. There are a bunch of earthquakes in California, and we're specifically going to look at Southern California tonight. There was a rather large earthquake in the Imperial Valley today. I'm going to show you that as well. I'm going to leave Hawaii right now, and I want to first talk about Biden's new immigration policy. On Monday, Biden was telling us that he would have a new immigration policy and he would probably sign it yesterday. He did not do that. Basically, Biden's new policy is not much of a change from anything else he's been doing. Okay? It's not doing anything much less than what he's doing now. Once Biden signs this new executive order, okay, his new executive order, new migrants entering this country would be cut off at something over, if they started coming into the country, anything over 5,000 immigrants per day were going to be shuttled back to Mexico or put on planes back to their home countries of origin. But he is still allowing 5,000 people to enter the southern border every day. Once that number has been reached, again, the migrants showing up for entry or asylum will be deported back to Mexico or to their country of origin. Mexico, on the other hand, has not agreed to any more than to take in those that previously agreed to and let those only back into Mexico. Mexico has not agreed to let any of us in the U.S. push people back into Mexico. So Mexico is probably going to rebel about what Biden wants to do. Also, everybody needs to know, Congress has not approved any kind of money to implement this new policy. Congress has not approved any more money to this new immigration policy, meaning They have not approved any more money to bring in all these people, to give them $5,000 a month in free Visa card to let them stay here, to pay for housing or groceries or anything else they need. Congress has not instituted any more congressional bills to allow that to happen. So Biden and his immigration people are in real tizzy right now. Biden still has an open door policy that allows immigrants, undocumented migrants, 5,000 enter the United States per day. That amounts to another 1,825,000 migrants every year. And then that's just the people that we know about. There's probably going to be twice that figure. So now we're looking at over 3 million people, half of those coming into the country illegally. At the same time, money is being cut from the veterans programs and other retirement programs such as Medicare and Social Security and medical care for other people. Biden is cutting off his nose to spite his face. The other countries around the world are facing the same problems, the exact same problems. And it was Biden that started it all. Okay? Now, for those of you that are interested in space travel, what NASA's done and what the other companies supporting NASA have done. Right now, we have several companies that are putting spacecraft and men into orbit. We have the Boeing Starliner. Boeing has been there. SpaceX has been there. We have Blue Origin, okay? Jeff Bezos. We have one other company, I don't remember what the company is. Those people have contracts with NASA to ferry goods, peoples, and services to the space station and back home. The Boeing Starliner spacecraft was launched this morning at 10:52 from Kennedy Space Center. I want to show you this. This is quite a launch this morning. It was delayed only once while they were still checking the vehicle. Should be right here. Let me hold on a second. I want to show you a good picture of this. Right here. The top part of this rocket is called the Boeing Starliner. The rocket itself was an Atlas II rocket made by Lockheed Martin and there was another ULA. That's what it was, United Launch Alliance. Lockheed Martin and the Launch Alliance built the rocket, the Atlas II rocket. The Atlas II hasn't been used in 60 years. It hasn't been used since the early 1960s when it threw into orbit a spacecraft with Alan Shepard and John Glenn and Walter Schirra and 5 other astronauts. Okay? It hasn't been used from way back when. Okay? First we had a Mercury Redstone. Then we had a Gemini spacecraft that was launched by the Atlas rocket. Today was the first use of the Atlas rocket to launch men into space. It was a beautiful launch, as you can see. It went very well. Now, we've had launches before. As you can imagine, and you've probably seen launches go up into space since Gemini with the Atlas rocket. And before that, the Mercury Redstone. After that, we had the Apollo spacecraft that was launched in orbit by a Saturn V rocket. And after that, we had our first space station. Okay, it was a very low orbiting space station, only carrying 3 astronauts at a time. That was also launched by the Saturn V rocket. Now, we are still seeing rockets going off every day. After Apollo stopped, what happened? NASA and its people started putting up a space shuttle, didn't they? A huge space shuttle. And that was a great thing. That was a really great thing. We were ferrying more astronauts than ever before. Upwards of 7 or 8 astronauts by the space shuttle. It was a great thing. That is the reason that we were able to build the space station. Because the space shuttle, in the cargo bay of the shuttle, carried parts to the space station. And they gradually brought more and more parts until we have the configuration that we have today, with cooperation from the European Space Agency and not just NASA, but also the Russians also contributed to the space station, the International Space Station. That's why they call it that. Many nations helped put that together. But today, we have a Boeing Starliner spacecraft that was launched just before 10:30 this morning. Actually, I'm sorry, not before, but just after that, 10:52 a.m. from the Kennedy Space Center. Now, that Starliner spacecraft is only initial test. It's carrying 2 astronauts. From what I'm hearing, Boeing can carry up to 6 astronauts on the Starliner. But today, we have astronauts Butch, or I shouldn't say Butch, Barry Butch. Butch is his nickname, but Barry Butch Wilmore and Sunita Williams. They are the first 2 astronauts test flying this new Starliner spacecraft built by Boeing. The Starliner spacecraft has been plagued with years of delays and glitches. Some of you are aware of that. The Atlas rocket was, like I said, built with the joint venture from United Launch Alliance, ULA, Boeing, and Lockheed Martin. Okay, they finally got it off the ground today. Lockheed Martin and Boeing developed the spacecraft as part of NASA's Commercial Crew Program. NASA's Commercial Crew Program is being supplied, the astronauts are being supplied from NASA, but the spacecraft are private entities that are built and operated, including SpaceX. SpaceX has a primary contract to launch rockets, and they're very good at it. They've been very good at it, and that's why they have the primary contract. Anyway, yeah, we keep getting people here that want to play games here, and we don't like to play games here. Sorry, I don't play games here. Hold on a second. Just had to get rid of them. No problem. They like to play games. They're gone. They're gone. No problem with that. Anyway, so we got a new launch rocket that went up. The rocket body is fallen down back to Earth. The spacecraft is en route to the International Space Station. The space station will have those 2 astronauts there for about a week, and then they'll probably return next week at this time. Okay, that's what's happening there. Okay? Do you have any questions about the space program that I can answer? I have watched every manned launch that has ever happened. I have watched every manned spacecraft launch from the late 1950s until now. Okay? I've watched every one of them, and I'll continue to do so. It's my interest. It's my interest. Okay? You can join me if you want, and having your interest, I have no problem with that. A lot of people say it's all faked. I don't believe that. I just don't believe it. Just a second. Just a quick second. Okay, more people gone. Lady Sky says she's new to our channel. Thank you for being here. Welcome. Welcome to the channel. Please subscribe to the channel. Okay? If you like what you hear, please subscribe to the channel. We'd love you here. Anyway, I want to get into California earthquakes. That is my subject for the evening. California quakes. Like I said, we've had a lot of earthquakes today. Just briefly, let me show you those on the map here. Start off showing you Hawaii, like I said. Now you see North America there. Most of the earthquakes here in North America have occurred over in California. A lot of earthquakes here in California. Most of those earthquakes are here in Southern California. Okay, right here. That is one of the biggest quakes today. Okay, it's happened. It's definitely happened. Okay, folks, this, let me get here. I want to show you this. It's not giving me all the information though. And I don't know why it's not giving me all the information here. Okay? But this earthquake here, okay? This is the big earthquake of the day. Now, I'm going to show you the seismograms. The seismograms are not completely clear, except they're showing us some large activity. Some real good sized activity. And folks, this happens. And this happens a lot. Because USGS is not telling us the complete truth. They don't want to show us the truth. They have no intention of showing us the truth. Not now, probably not ever. Not ever. Now, over here in Western Africa, this was a 5.1 earthquake. A large 5.1 earthquake right here. Okay? We've had more earthquakes over here in Greece. We've had no 5.0 earthquakes in Greece yet. They've all been minor earthquakes, small earthquakes, and minor tremors over here in Greece. Okay? What we have had is over here. Okay? At the Turkey border of Syria, right here. We've had about 50 earthquakes right here. 50 earthquakes. This happens. This happens. And it's going to continue to happen. Why? Why are we getting earthquakes here on the Syrian border with Turkey? Because just over a year ago, almost a year and a half ago, we had a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake right here. But folks, now we're getting aftershocks, a lot of aftershocks. No, USGS is not showing them to us. They're not showing to any of us. They're not admitting to anything. They don't want, actually this is not Syria, Turkey border here. Syria-Turkey border is over here. Now I'm going to try to do something. Hold on a second. They're not giving us opportunity here to show you exactly what we need to show you. I had this map all set up before I came on the air, and now it's all over the place. It's not showing us realistic information. Hold on just a second. I'm sorry. Bingo, I got it back. I got my map back. Okay, let me turn this over here so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay? Okay, folks, now you know what I'm talking about. This earthquake was over in the Syria-Turkey border region here. Okay, this was just a 4.1 moderate earthquake. But again, this is not completely true because they're not showing us the rest of the earthquakes. There's about 60 earthquakes here in this area. But it's not the only seismic energy here. USGS is not showing us everything here. There are about 40 earthquakes up here in northern Turkey. There are another 30 to 40 earthquakes right here in western Turkey. Over here, just off the western coast of Turkey, we have more earthquakes right in here. These islands belong to Greece. All of these islands here belong to Greece. They're called the Dokanese Islands. There's about 20 earthquakes right here in the Dokanese Islands. Over here, just north of Greece, right here, there is a 2.7 earthquake here. Right here, there's a 2.3 earthquake just south of Greece. Over here on the Greece mainland here, this whole area here, there are 40 earthquakes here, all over this area. Most of these are just 1.0, 1.7, 1.8, 2.6, 2.7, and 3.2 earthquakes. The 3.2 is up here in the northern part of Greece. Down here near Athens, all we're seeing here is a 1.8 tremor here. But throughout this whole area, we have about 40 earthquakes here. USGS not showing any of them. North here, Albania, there are 3 earthquakes here that they're not showing. How about that? Romania, there's a couple earthquakes up here. They're not showing. Croatia and Slovenia here, they're not showing those either. How about here, over here in Italy? They're not showing much of anything. Nothing here in Sicily either, down here to the south. There are earthquakes here. These are 2.3, 2.4, and 2.5 earthquakes. They're also not showing any activity out here in this Gulf area between Sicily and Italy. We have 2 volcanoes here. Stromboli and Mount Etna are both erupting here. Over here in southern Italy, we have about 11 earthquakes here, and we have 24 earthquakes up here in central Italy. Most of these earthquakes are 1.0, 1.5, and 1.9. But we have also some 2.5s and 2.7s as well as a 3.22 over here in this area of Umbria, Italy. We also have some earthquakes over here in northeastern Italy here at the Alps Italian border here. We also have some earthquakes over here in northern Italy here. Again, they're just basically 1.7, 1.8, and 2.5 earthquake here. Here in the Alps, dividing Italy from Switzerland, Germany, and France. Germany up here, Switzerland here, and France right here. We do have some earthquakes. Now here's where I'm going to show you another map. Okay? I want to be able to show you exactly what's going on. So I'm coming over here to my earthquake map on my other device called my earthquake app. Okay, I'm going to show you realistically exactly what has happened there in Europe, because it's not fair to you or anyone else to not know exactly what's going on. So I want to show you what is happening. I think it's important. Okay, look what's happening here in Italy. Again, central Italy here. There are 26 earthquakes here in central Italy. Again, down here in Sicily, there are some earthquakes here, out here in this area. Look here in southern Italy. There are 6 earthquakes in this swarm right here. There are a lot of earthquakes here. Over here on the eastern side of Italy, we have a swarm of earthquakes there. I want to show you what those are, so you can kind of get a flavor of what's happening here. And now my app is not responding right. it's not going to let me show you the magnitudes. I tried tapping on the magnitudes of these earthquakes here, and it's not allowing me to. But I've told you what they are. I've already visited these all day today. I've been keeping watchful eye on here. Okay. These are over in northwestern Italy here. They have taken the earthquakes from over here, over here in northwestern Italy here. We're seeing these over in northeastern Italy here. Over in the Alps, this is in the Italian Alps here. This is a 0.9 minor microquake, just a microquake. This other earthquake over here in the central part of the Alps of Italy, this is also a 0.9 microquake here. Now, since I last looked at this application, they have taken down all the earthquakes over here in France. I want to show you these earthquakes because I think it's important for everybody to realize what's going on. This is a 1.3 tremor over here in France. Just south of there, over the French Alps, we have a 1.4 tremor here. Okay? But we've had many other earthquakes throughout this area here. They've taken those down. I want to show you this earthquake here. This is over near the coast of France. This is a 2.5 near Normandy. This is a 2.5 minor earthquake over here in Normandy, France. Okay? That's happened. Now, over at the border area of Spain and France, there are usually 2, maybe 3 earthquakes here. Today, over at that same border, we have a 1.5 tremor here. With that 1.5 tremor, this other over on the western side is also 1.5. That's interesting that both would be 1.5 tremors here at the France-Spain border. Look at these earthquakes here in Spain. Okay? Over here on the eastern side of Spain, this is a 1.8 tremor here, just off the coast of Spain here. Going inland from there, this is also 1.6 here. Tremors, only tremors. Let's go down here to southern Spain here. You see no earthquakes on the southern border here. However, we have these earthquakes here. Why? See this earthquake fault? This is the same earthquake fault that we saw over in Turkey. The same earthquake fault we saw from Turkey that came from Turkey over to Greece, southern Greece, over to Italy, and all the way over here. This is an earthquake fault. This is a Strait of Gibraltar. So this earthquake fault has brought us 4 earthquakes on the east side of Gibraltar. These earthquakes are on the fault line. That's why we got them. They're on the fault line. Now, these earthquakes don't have any hazard to them. They haven't had a hazard in some time. These earthquakes are all tremors here. Now, I can't get rid of, I shouldn't say get rid of, I can't get rid of the earthquake that I showed you in central Spain. But since I can't do that, I'm just going to tell you that these are all tremors here. All of these are tremors over here on this earthquake fault just east of Gibraltar. This is Morocco. This is a 2.5 earthquake, minor earthquake over here in Morocco. Okay, that's what's happened. Then we come over here to Portugal. Okay, let me see here. Okay, now it's going to show this 2.4 over here at the border of Spain and Portugal. A minor 2.4 earthquake right here. We go south of there, just off the coast of Portugal and Spain. These are over in the Azores. Gosh, now it's not letting me show you the magnitudes of these. These are just 2.4 earthquakes down here at the border area of Spain and Portugal out here in the Azores. These are the Azore Islands here. Okay, that's happened there. Again, it's that same earthquake fault. It's that same earthquake fault going out to meet with the Mid-Atlantic fault. The same earthquake fault going out to the Mid-Atlantic to meet up with the Mid-Atlantic fault here. Over here, down here, this is the Canary Islands. Good old Canary Islands. We just love the Canary Islands, don't we? Over here near Tenerife. Doggone it. I don't know what happened here. Because all of a sudden it took my earthquakes off and showed me where I live. Maybe I'll show you that a little later. This is a 1.6 tremor near Tenerife, Canary Islands. Okay, but we go further west here. Look at this. This is also a 1.6 tremor. Okay, yesterday we had a 2.37 earthquake over here at La Palma Island. La Palma Island in the Canary Islands. This is where we had a volcanic eruption about a year and a half ago. Okay, we had an eruption of a volcano right here. This volcano origins comes from up here. Okay, this was a big volcano. A big volcano. It was thought by a lot of people that somehow this part of the island was going to fall off from the Canary Island, from La Palma Island, and was going to pose a hazard to the east coast of the United States. It did not happen. And it's probably not going to happen. Okay? But the volcano erupted from right about here, and it spread all the way down here and all the way out to the coast. Again, the volcano threw lava all the way down here to the coastline, adding real estate to La Palma Island. Okay? A town right here called Los Llanos. Los Llanos had a I believe it's a 2.47 earthquake right here yesterday. Okay? Incredible. We don't have too many earthquakes there. Don't have too many earthquakes at all there. We go out to the Mid-Atlantic Fault. We have 2 earthquakes that have happened over near the Mid-Atlantic Fault. On the fault line, we have we have several more islands. I think 11 total islands of the Azores Islands. This one happens to be Faja Gloria. We have a 2.2 earthquake right here. These are the Azores Islands. This is the Mid-Atlantic Fault here. The Mid-Atlantic Fault. Let me show you this other earthquake here that's right next to it. I don't know why that's doing that. Doggone it. Here it is. This one is near a place they call São Bartolomeu Regatos, Azores, Portugal. This is a 1.6 earthquake here. Okay? A 1.6 earthquake here. Now, why are we interested in that? Why are we interested in it? For those of you that have been following my program for the past 2 years, we have an island here. This island has 3 volcanoes on it. For a time, 2 years ago, they evacuated this island because they thought these volcanoes were going to erupt. There were so many earthquakes here, they thought these volcanoes were going to erupt. Now these people come back. The earthquakes stopped. Yes, there's magma out there. There is magma out there. But for now, the earthquakes have stopped. And they actually do not expect them to open up again. They're not going to do it. Hold on a second. Goodbye. There it goes. Anyway, that's out in the Azores Islands. Now, I want to show you the entire Mid-Atlantic Fault. I want to go down here to the South Atlantic. The South Atlantic Ocean is here. This is the Mid-Atlantic Fault. We do have an earthquake right here. This is in the South Sandwich Islands. The South Sandwich Islands. This is a large quake. This is a 5.5 large quake. A mid-range 5. Okay? Mid-range 5s get to be very strong quakes. Okay? A 5.5 to a 5.9 are considered to be very large earthquakes. 5.0 to 5.4 is considered to be just a large. But they become very large when they become 5.5 or larger. That's what this is. This earthquake is going to migrate this way, and it's going to go up the Mid-Atlantic Fault. That's why I want to show you this. That's how it happens. When we get multiple earthquakes like we've had in the past, these same earthquakes migrate up here through the Antarctic Ridge. This is the Antarctic Ridge here. They migrate through the ridge up to the Mid-Atlantic Fault, and then they go north. Usually when they go north, they do not influence any other continent. They go straight up the Mid-Atlantic, okay? Right up here. Again, this is the Azores Islands. Okay, the Mid-Atlantic Fault, like we've talked about, folks, is a big deal. The Mid-Atlantic Fault is expanding like this, from side to side. It's opening up in the middle of the Atlantic. Okay, it's expanding. It's pushing Europe in a easterly direction. But the North American continent, Canada and the United States and Mexico, is pushing the North American continent in a southwesterly direction, putting a lot of pressure on the east coast of the U.S. and Canada. A lot of pressure. In some places of Canada and the United States, we have gotten 3.5 magnitude quakes. 3.5 magnitude earthquakes. This is a big deal. A big deal. Because the North American plate being pushed is putting a lot of pressure over here on the New Madrid. And yes, we're going to talk about the New Madrid this week. We've seen a lot of earthquakes here on the New Madrid. We're going to see more. Right now, we're seeing anywhere from 1.27 tremors on up to 3.5 and 3.7 earthquakes. I believe we've also had a 4.5 earthquake on the New Madrid Fault during last year. That's still a big deal. Now, yesterday we showed you an earthquake over here in northern Canada. Actually, I shouldn't say northern Canada, eastern Canada. The town of Clinton, Canada here is a 2.5 earthquake. It happened yesterday evening at 8:51 p.m. A 2.5 earthquake. Since then, we've got another earthquake here. This is, I can't even pronounce, it's French. It's over in Quebec province. La Pocatière, P-O-C-A-T-I-E-R-E. La Pocatière, we have a 0.81 tremor here. A 0.81 tremor. Tremors begin with a 0.1 to a 0.9. This one is a 0.8. What happens after 0.9? Then they become tremors. These are microquakes. These are just microquakes. After 1.0 to 1.9, they become tremors. Then from 2.0, they become earthquakes till 2.9. 3.0, they become small earthquakes. 3.0 to 3.9. After that, 4.0 to 4.9 are moderate quakes. 5.0 to 5.9 are large quakes, and 6.0 to 6.9 are very strong. After 6.9, we go to 7.0. 7.0, anything 7.0 and above are major earthquakes. Major earthquakes, and it happens. It happens a lot. It happens a lot, and it's going to continue. Anyway, one of the things I want to show you here before I go into the other earthquakes of the day, specifically in Southern California, I want to show you this. Okay? The Eastern Continental Divide. The Eastern Continental Divide starts down here in Georgia. You can see the Eastern Continental Divide because it's a mountain range going all the way up here into Canada. I live right here in Morganton, North Carolina. This is in the foothills of the Continental Divide. Okay? This is the edge of the plate here. This is the edge of the North American plate on the eastern side of the United States, Eastern Continental Divide. The North American plate here. This is the Atlantic plate here. This area here is the Atlantic plate. I live here in the foothills of the Continental Divide. Okay? Just to give you an idea. Curly Fries asked me if I got my new computer. Yes, I did. Folks, I've done a lot of testing. One day last week in the evening, I did a test. I put my computer to the test. Instead of being on YouTube, I did a Facebook Live video. And there were no problems. There were absolutely no problems connecting with the internet and putting out a video on Facebook Live. But if I tried to do that to YouTube, all of a sudden all kinds of heck start breaking out. YouTube is still putting up a fit. They don't like me broadcasting, and I don't give a flying rat's butt. I'm still doing it on a different device. They haven't been able to stop me here, and I'm going to continue to do that. Sweet Polly Purebred says she's seen the sign as she drove past the Continental Divide. It's cool, isn't it? I've been there. I've been there. Now, 3 years ago this August, there was a 5.1 earthquake here in North Carolina. It was just northwest of where I'm at. Okay? I will show you pictures from that earthquake site over in the Continental Divide of the United States. Okay? Unreal. It happens. Anywho, so I want to go down and show you the South Pacific, because what the USGS says happened in the South Pacific did not happen at all. In fact, what the USGS says is not much of anything. I got woken up this morning by an earthquake, a large 5.01 earthquake over on the North Island of New Zealand. Right there. Now, why is this important? Okay? I want to show you this. Before I continue showing you New Zealand, I want to go north. I'm going up into Tonga. This is a 4.6 earthquake, 46 kilometers northwest of Niafu, Tonga, the capital of Tonga. Notice where the earthquake fault is. There are two earthquake faults. This one right here over in Tonga, and this one here in Fiji. Both faults lead into New Zealand. Okay? Now, I want to show you something else. Earthquakes. Fiji. This is a 4.6 earthquake here in Fiji. This 4.6 earthquake was 537 kilometers deep. A pretty deep earthquake. The deepest earthquake we've seen was 700 kilometers deep. The very deepest earthquake we've ever seen. Most earthquakes that we see now are 500, 560, 600, 650. Yes, we've seen 700 kilometer deep earthquakes. These earthquakes are 537 kilometers deep. That means this 4.6 that you see here, this 4.6 earthquake that you see here, guess what's going to happen? We're going to see a 5.6 to 5.7 earthquake happen somewhere here in Tonga, Fiji, or over here to the west in Papua New Guinea. Okay? It's going to happen. We've seen it happen here before. We've seen earthquakes as of late here in Papua New Guinea all over this area here. Yes, we're going to see that happen again. We're going to see a 5.5 to 5.6 earthquake happen in the next 3 to 10 days as a result of that earthquake over here in Fiji, that 4.6 earthquake. But that's not all, folks. There's more. There's another earthquake over in southern Fiji. This is a 4.7 earthquake. This earthquake is also a deep quake. Let me show you how deep it is. It's 350 kilometers deep. But this being a 4.7, it's going to propagate a larger, more shallow quake. This is probably going to propagate a 5.7 to a 5.8 earthquake in the same area of Fiji, Tonga, and or Solomon Islands, Vanuatu over in Papua New Guinea. That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. It's happened before, it's going to happen again. All earthquakes, all strong earthquakes here, anywhere all over the world, come from down here in the South Pacific. All earthquakes anywhere in the world start down here in the South Pacific, and then they propagate everywhere else. They propagate all over the world. Now, going from southern Fiji, we go over into the Kermadec Islands. This is a 4.2 shallow earthquake in the Kermadec Islands. The Kermadec Islands here, folks, are a bird sanctuary. Only birds reside on them. Why? Because it's a very dangerous place to be. During low tide, mariners can't get in here. Low tide, mariners can't get in here because of the rocks just below the surface. It would tear up the boats or the ships. Only small boats can get in here to the Kermadec Islands during high tide, and then they have to get out before low tide. That is a 4.2 moderate earthquake. Over here also we have a 4.18. 4.18 moderate earthquake. Okay? That's what's happening. The only people there are only people there. The only animals there are birds. Occasionally, some scientists go in there during high tide to get in and check on the birds and leave. Okay? Over here, look at all these earthquakes over here near the Bay of Plenty, just north of the mainland New Zealand here. I'm going to start over here. Okay? Just north of the Bay of Plenty, we have a 3.9, 4.0 earthquake, moderate earthquake. We go further south into the Bay of Plenty here. This is a 2.8 minor earthquake. This is the Bay of Plenty right here. It's called, we affectionately call it the catcher's mitt because it looks like a baseball catcher's mitt. Down here in the Bay of Plenty, we have some more earthquakes here. This earthquake is over in the water. This is a 2.31 earthquake. 2.31 earthquake. This island right here is called White Island. There's a volcano there, and it erupted 2 years ago, killing a couple people and severely injuring others. There was a tourist boat that let off people from the boat over on the island. They left them there, and the volcano exploded. It erupted. The searing heat of the steam burned the people and severely killed 2 people. I shouldn't say severely killed. It killed 2 people and severely injured many others. They don't do that anymore. They don't do that anymore. Just south of there on land over here of New Zealand. This is called Matahi, the Bay of Plenty. This is a 2.31 earthquake here, minor earthquake. Over here, this is where we have the 5.1 earthquake here. 5.1 earthquake. It's on the fault zone. It's on the fault zone here, coming out of Turkey. Not Turkey, coming out of Tonga. This fault zone comes directly out of Tonga. 5.1 earthquake. What happened around it? Around it, we had a 2.26 and a 2.21 aftershocks from that 5.1 earthquake. There is some damage here. There are people living in this area, and there is some damage here from that 5.1 earthquake this morning. There's damage all over the island. All over the island. To the east, a 2.31 minor earthquake there. I want to take you over to the northern part of that area. Okay? Over on the west side, over on the east side of this this peninsula here, is Gisborne, New Zealand here. Gisborne, New Zealand right there. Now, this earthquake here is Waihu Bay. This is a 2.52 earthquake here. 2.52. Gisborne, we don't have any earthquakes here except out to sea. I want to show you these earthquakes really quick. There's 2 of them right close together. Don't tell me this. They're not going to let me show you. These are also 2.0, 2.3 earthquakes here. Down here is a 2.7. just off the coast of the North Island of New Zealand. The North Island of New Zealand is called Raoul Island. Raoul Island. Okay? Now, Demon Catman has put up a post. I'm sorry, my head itches for some reason. When over here in the chat, Demon Catman says, when you go out and see the bell, it should be next to it. Failing that, you go to the Emergency Management Associates page, and the last option at the top on the right should be members. You can join there. He's talking about the membership join button. Okay? When you go over to our Emergency Management Associates page, even during our broadcast, it should show you a little oval going left to right that says join. We appreciate any and all of you joining our program. I've kept the cost low for the membership. The first level of membership is $1.99. The second level is $2.99. The third level is $3.99. Okay? I was telling you the other day we were going to have a membership meeting today, and I couldn't get on the air earlier today because we had another storm here. We've had a storm here off and on all day. Right now the rain has stopped, and we still have some black and gray clouds out here with some white clouds drifting by as well. So I hope the rain has stopped. We hope. Anyway, going back over here to the North Island here. Yes, we've had a large earthquake over here on the north part of the main island. What is here? What is that here? That is Topo Lake. This is Topo Lake. This is a supervolcano. This is a supervolcano. Let's go here just south of the lake. This is on the edge of the lake here. Topo Lake, the supervolcano. What is here? This is a 2.31 earthquake. 2.31 earthquake. Yes, we've had minor earthquakes here at the volcano, and we've also had tremors here. On and off tremors all the time. Topo volcano is very dangerous. It's very dangerous. If this volcano were to erupt, we would have molten lava mixed with very cold water here at Topo Lake, and it would be an explosive, very explosive event. Okay? That's what's going on. Right south of there, we have Rapahu volcano. This last erupted just a few years back, just prior to me coming on the air. Rapahu volcano erupted just a few years back. Okay? It could be dangerous as well, depending. But it's not going to have the effect of cold or hot lava mixing with cold water. Okay? Incredible. Incredible. Now we have volcanoes all over Iceland. Yes, the island was built by volcanoes. We have earthquakes out here in the Cook Strait here. This water between the two islands, the North Island and the South Island, is called the Cook Strait. We have earthquakes here. What are they? We have a 2.63 here. Just south of there, I'm just going to name those right here. A 2.47 and a 2.24. On the South Island, I'm going to show you these earthquakes because I think it's important. We have a lot of people here on the chat and watching our program tonight from New Zealand. Quite a few. I have personal friends over on New Zealand right now. Over here on the western side, north side, we have a 2.33 earthquake, minor earthquake. Just south of there, south and east of there, we have a 2.34. We go over here near Christchurch, Canterbury, New Zealand. This is a 2.71. This is a populated city. A populated city. Christchurch is over here. Christchurch is right there. What happened at Christchurch just a few years back? Just a few years back. There was a major earthquake here that killed people and tore apart Christchurch, New Zealand, and the surrounding area. South of Christchurch, we have this earthquake here. I want to show you this. This is also on the trench or the earthquake fault coming out of Fiji this time. This is a 2.31 earthquake. This fault zone here comes out of Fiji and tears through the South Island here. It goes all the way down to South Park, New Zealand. Okay? South Park, New Zealand. Here in the central part of the South Island, we have a 2.47 earthquake. 2.47. Then we go down here. This is a different story. This is Southland, New Zealand. There's a park down here. It's a park down here, and it's very cold over here. We're getting close to the Antarctic Ridge, the Antarctic Sea down here. This is a 2.56 earthquake, just off the coast. Just off the coast, we have a 2.58, a 3.6, and a 2.98. 3.6 and a 2.98 right there. Further south, also right directly on the fault, this is a 3.2 earthquake. 3.2 earthquake. Again, this fault comes out of Fiji. Two different faults feeding New Zealand. The first one comes out of Tonga, and the other one comes directly south from Fiji. Okay, that's what's happening here. And occasionally, we get even earthquakes down here. Okay, these islands down here belong to Australia. New Zealanders, scientists, and Australia scientists occupy some of these islands. Okay? There's earthquakes there occasionally. We've seen them when we've shown them to you. We've shown you a lot of quakes down there. Now, just out, I want to show you really quick, if I can find it. Yes, I can right here. This is called Macquarie Island. Macquarie Island. This is a scientific island here. Okay, nothing more than scientists live here almost all year long. Macquarie Island. We've had several earthquakes near Macquarie Island this year so far. Now, I want to just briefly, before I go into Southern California, I want to show you an earthquake in Papua New Guinea today. Another earthquake in Papua New Guinea. This is a 5.3 damaging earthquake. It's on land there in Papua New Guinea. Since this afternoon, right before we came on the right before we came on the program, we have a 2.8 earthquake here in northern Australia. Queensland, Australia. 2.84 earthquake. Okay? Now, I want to briefly show you all the earthquakes here in Indonesia. Look at all these earthquakes here. Up here we have the Philippines. From south here, all over here is Indonesia. We have 24 earthquakes here in Indonesia. None of these earthquakes show up on USGS, including New Zealand. Including New Zealand. The only earthquake that showed up for a brief time on USGS was the 5.1 earthquake in northern New Zealand. Now, I want to go over here to Sumatra. We have two large earthquakes here in Sumatra, just off the south coast of Sumatra. This is a 5.6 very large earthquake here. Now, the only part of anybody that could even feel part of this earthquake is maybe over here right near shore. Because for the most part, the earthquake hit out here off the coast. And the ocean waters from the Indian Ocean absorbed the shock waves from this quake. A large earthquake there. A very large earthquake, 5.6 earthquake here. We go northern Sumatra. This is another very large earthquake, a 5.4 earthquake here. Again, it's just all along the coast of Sumatra. People may have felt that more as a moderate earthquake because it was a 5.4. Again, a lot of shock waves from this earthquake were absorbed by seawater here in the Indian Ocean. Right next to it is an aftershock. This is a 3.3 small earthquake here off the coast of Sumatra. Nobody felt that quake at all because the ocean waters absorbed the shock waves from that quake. Okay? Again, Philippines. Earthquakes here off the east coast of Philippines. This one here off the southeast coast is a 3.0 small quake. Over here off the northeast coast is a different story. This is a 3.2 earthquake. Why did this earthquake hit? Because, folks, about 6 months ago, 5 months ago, we had an 8.4 earthquake here. We had an 8.4 earthquake off the east coast of this Mindanao, Philippines, this large island in the southern Philippines. Okay, a big deal. We're still having aftershocks from that earthquake. They're continuing, and they'll continue for a very long time. Luzon, Philippines. I'm not going to show you all the earthquakes here. Off the northern shore of Luzon, Philippines, we have a small 3.0 earthquake. Then south of Taiwan, we have another 3.1 earthquake here. Notice that same earthquake fault coming out of Indonesia. Okay, it's coming up here. That's why we had that earthquake. Okay. Then we go over south of Japan. Toshima, Japan. This is a 2.0 earthquake. Again, look at these earthquake faults coming out from Taiwan and down into the Philippines and into Indonesia. That's why these faults are here. That's why we continue to have earthquakes here in Japan. Now I'm going to go up the eastern side of Japan and over onto Japan itself. In central Japan, Gifu, Japan, we have a minor 2.5 quake there. Again, these quakes come from way down in Indonesia here. That's why we have earthquakes here in Japan. They migrate north. From there, we also have one over here just north of Tokyo. Oyama Tochi, Japan. This is a moderate 4.1 earthquake here. People felt that here. Moderate damage, moderate quake. Okay? Pictures falling off walls, knickknacks and books falling off shelves, dishes and plates rattling in cupboards, that kind of thing. Moderate damage, moderate quake. Off the coast, and yes, we've had a lot of earthquakes where I'm going to show you now, but this is just barely off the coast. Over in Koshi, Chiba, Japan, we've had large earthquakes. This one is just off the coast. This is a 4.7 earthquake here. Still a moderate earthquake just off the coast of Japan there. Okay? Now, we've had no other earthquakes in Japan. Nothing coming up here into Russia. Nothing coming up into Russia. However, we have had earthquakes in Russia before. And that's the Kamchatka Peninsula. Those earthquakes, like I said, come way down out of Indonesia. They come out from Indonesia into the Philippines, over into Taiwan, Japan. They work themselves up to the Kamchatka Peninsula, and after they go out into the Aleutian Islands. This is Atka, Alaska here. The Rat Islands here, Atka, Alaska here. These are just small, usually tremors and minor earthquakes. This, however, is a 4.0 earthquake there. The Rat Islands, Alaska. Just east of there, Adak, Alaska, a 3.4 earthquake there. Just to the east of there, this is a 2.2 minor earthquake here. So we've gone from moderate to small to minor earthquakes, all in that area. Right next to it, just north, is a 1.05 tremor. Moderate, small, minor, and a tremor there. Now, over east, 1.69 and a 1.67 tremor there. Adak, Alaska. Okay, that's what's happened there. Then over in the southwesternmost part of the peninsula of Alaska, Dutch Harbor, Alaska. This is a 0.29 minor tremor here. 0.29 minor microquake, I should say, microquake. 0.1 to 0.9 are microquakes. Okay? Alaska. Here we have nothing more than microquakes, tremors, and minor earthquakes. Microquakes, minor tremors, and minor earthquakes. That's all. That's all we've had here in Alaska. There are about 50 earthquakes in Alaska. 50 earthquakes in Alaska. Now I'm going to show you the Pacific Northwest real quick. We're not going to spend much time here, but I'm going to show you the Pacific Northwest. Lake Marcel, Stillwater, Washington. We continue to have earthquakes here. Here we have a 1.5 tremor here. Stillwater, Washington. We come south. We go to Mount Rainier. Mount Rainier. Actually, that's not Mount Rainier, I'm sorry. That's Mount St. Helens. Mount Rainier is here. No earthquakes here at all. But here at St. Helens is a different story. Over in the inside the volcano here, we have 4 earthquakes. 4 earthquakes. I'm going to start up here to the north. Okay? This is a 0.1 microquake. However, it shows to be here on the rim of the crater, right? It's not. It's deep inside the volcano. I want to show you how deep right here. Okay? This is 2 miles deep. 2 miles deep. 4 kilometers deep. Okay? It's not the only one though. The other 4 here we have here are 0.13, a 1.32, a 0.33, and a 0.38. So we had some microquakes and 1 tremor. These are also not up here at the top of the volcano. These are deep quakes. These are deep quakes. This one is 2.4 miles deep, about 5 kilometers deep. Okay? They're inside the volcano. There's magma down there. That's what's causing these quakes. This particular one is a 1.32 tremor. Let's see how deep this one is. This one here is 1.9 miles, basically 2 miles deep. One more here. One more here. This is a 0.33. Let's show you the depth here. This is different here. This is only 0.7 of a mile deep. 0.7 of a mile deep inside the volcano. What is going on? USGS is not showing us these quakes. United States Geological Survey is not showing these quakes at Mount St. Helens. What's going on? Mount St. Helens is preparing for an eruption, as is Mount Rainier, but even this earthquake app that comes from the Europeans is not showing everything. It's not showing everything, unfortunately. But Mount St. Helens and Mount Rainier are both gearing up to erupt. It's going to happen. South of St. Helens, we have 2 more quakes. A 1.17 and a 1.23. This is south of Mount St. Helens. Just some tremors. Okay? Southwest of there, Kalama, Washington. This is also 1.1 tremor there. Okay? That's what's happening. Laura Marie's here in the chat. Welcome, Laura Marie. She says, I want to visit Mount St. Helens Educational and the Interpretive Center. Apparently, you can walk around the crater. That's what I've heard. But right now, I would not want to get anywhere near the crater. Yes, the Interpretive Center would be different, but I would not want to get anywhere near the crater itself. Not now, probably not ever. Okay? Not ever. Just a second. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about what I've said so far? Now, I want to show you something, and this is important. This is very important. Look what it says now. It says 50 earthquakes here just north of the Bay Area. This is the geysers. This is a geothermal plant here where they tap into the volcano right here, the Clear Lake volcano. They tap into the Clear Lake volcano to obtain steam to power the turbines to generate electricity here at the geysers, Sonoma County, California. We have had up to 50 earthquakes and more before. Here we have 50 earthquakes at least. The Bay Area is also brimming with minor quakes, minor earthquakes. Down here is a different story. Southern California. We have earthquakes here. We have earthquakes here in Southern California. I'm going to show you those now. Now, just south of there, I want to show you what's happening. Southern California, Los Angeles, and Orange County. Look at all these earthquakes all over this area. It's popping. It's popping, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to pop. We're going to get a large earthquake here in LA. Promise you. It's coming. Look at these earthquakes. They continue to happen here. They continue to happen. I'm going to show you seismograms of what is actually going on. Down here, Imperial County, California. Right here. This is the Salton Sea. This is the town of, well, actually, this is the southern part of the Imperial Valley. I'm going to show you earthquakes all over this area. Just a few minutes. Just a very few minutes. We've had some large earthquakes down here. We've had some large earthquakes. Down here in northern Mexico, look at this. Large earthquakes. But these are not large. But we're going to get a large earthquake here. Promise you. I promise you guys. Now, why am I showing you this? I want to show you something else down here. Okay, I want to show you something. Right here, what do we have? This is Cerro Prado volcano. Right next to Cerro Prado volcano, we have another geothermal plant. Just like we have over in the Imperial Valley, just like we have at the geysers north of San Francisco, we have down here. They have drilled into the upper magma chambers of Cerro Prado volcano to obtain steam to generate electricity here at the turbines. We have a ton of earthquakes here. This area is about to pop. Guadalupe, Victoria, Mexico. Guadalupe, Victoria, Mexico. Folks, on April 3rd, 2010. April 3rd, 2010. Just south of the border of California and Mexico. Guadalupe, Victoria, Mexico. We had a 7.1 earthquake here. A 7.1 earthquake here at the border. It's going to happen again. I promise you it's going to happen again right here. All these earthquakes here in southern Mexico are coming north. We're going to have another major earthquake here, either right alongside the border here or up in here in the Imperial Valley. It's going to happen. That 7.1 earthquake was felt in Arizona, in San Diego, and Los Angeles. Okay? Everywhere. Now, I'm going to warn you. I'm going to warn you. This isn't good news. A major earthquake is incoming to Southern California. I promise you. I promise you. The seismograms that I'm about to show you are going to prove it. They're going to prove it. We've had a large earthquake in the Imperial Valley today, and USGS did not show it to you. USGS did not show it to you, but I'm going to show it. Even on the European map, the Europeans are not showing it either. They're not showing you any earthquakes here at all. USGS is not showing any earthquakes at all either. I'm going to show you the seismograms showing you what has actually happened. Right here, right now. And this is not a television station. This is Ron Tyler. This is Ron Tyler. I'm good at this. I am very good at this. I've been showing you seismograms and earthquakes all over Southern California over the last 5 years. We've been on the air now over 5 years. We're going to continue showing you what's happening. I promise you what is happening. It's not good. It's not good at all. It is not good at all. Now, I'm going to put this USGS map to bed for right now because I want to bring up these other seismograms to show you exactly what's going on. Now, I want to start out in the desert area, just east of Los Angeles. Okay? I want to go out here. The first place I'm going to go is Barstow, California. Okay, I want to show you Barstow. Here in Barstow, it's not going to show you the big earthquake because it happened south of there. But this is where it happened, just before 5 a.m. this morning. You can see 5 a.m. right here. This is the tail end of the quake. This is the tail end of the quake. The quake lasted for a long time. As you can see, the secondary wave here in Barstow showed way over here. This seismogram starts at 5 a.m. and each and every line here on the seismogram lasts 15 minutes. You can see how long that secondary wave lasted. It was a long time. This was a large earthquake here. I'm sorry. Let me bring it down. Here, right here. This was the tail end of a large earthquake. Barstow, California. You don't see much of anything else here but tremors here. Long-term tremors such as this. And this one here down here this afternoon. Yes, we see some minor microquakes and minor tremors here. That's all we're seeing, except for the tail end of this large earthquake here. Folks, this was big. It was felt all the way north into Barstow. It was felt north into Cabazon. Cabazon is just east of Orange County. Just east of Orange County. Again, look how much of the earthquake was felt here. And this was the tail end of the quake. Look how much was felt over this long time period. This is the secondary wave here. The secondary wave started here just before 5:01 this morning. It lasted all the way over here. 15 minutes long. 15 minutes long, guys. Look at these other quakes here. Right here at 5:45 here. We had another earthquake just prior to that. The other earthquake started over here after. This is about 5:56 a.m. this morning. Look at the tremors prior to that. The tremors started all the way over here, just about 4 minutes after 5:34 this morning. It lasted a long time, and then we had another earthquake over here at 5:45. That earthquake lasted 2 minutes. Then, over here after 8:02 a.m. here on the black line, these are for the most part tremors with mixed in 2.0 earthquakes. 2.0 earthquake here, 2.0 earthquake here, and we have 2.0 earthquakes mixed in all over this earthquake. See this earthquake sequence. Okay? Another sequence started over here at 9:13 a.m. this morning here. It also lasted after 9:15 here. 9:15, 9:16, 9:17, 9:18 here. And you can see the other tremors here. Tremors here, and tremors here mixed in with 2.0 earthquakes here. Okay, this is Cabazon out in the desert area east of Orange County. Okay, then I want to take you out. Let me see, I want to make sure I stay here in the desert area east of Los Angeles here first. Lancaster. Let me take you out to Lancaster. This is also out in the desert area east of LA, Lancaster, California. In Lancaster, we're still seeing remnants of that large earthquake down in the Imperial Valley. right here, just after 5 a.m. You can see tremors all over this seismogram here. Tremors all over this desert area near Lancaster, California. Okay? All over the place. It happened. It's still going on. Let me show you Riverside, California here. Look at this. We're still seeing remnants of that 5.0 earthquake in the Imperial Valley here. All the rest of these are minor tremors. There is nothing else here but tremors. Okay? Riverside, California. 2 years ago, Riverside, California looked like it was going to pop. Now, not much is going on there. I want to further take you out to the desert. Rancho Mirage, California. Look in Rancho Mirage. This is remnants of the 5.0 earthquake in the Imperial Valley. That's how much the desert shook. All the way from down south in the Imperial Valley out here to Rancho Mirage. Okay? Look at these other elements here. These are just tremors here. It's showing the large earthquake from the Imperial Valley here, but it's also showing you nothing but tremors out here in the desert. Okay? It's quite remarkable. Okay, let me make sure that's it over here in the desert area. Well, one more place. I want to go over to Victorville, California. This is where our dear friend Isaiah's granny lives. Again, over here in Victorville, we're also still showing remnants of the 5.0 earthquake from the Imperial Valley, all the way out here in the desert. Right here. All the rest of this seismogram is showing you tremors. Nothing but tremors all day long. All day long. These tremors are from, guess what? The San Andreas Fault. The San Andreas Fault here in Victorville. Okay? Let's go out to Los Angeles and let's go off the coast first. I want to show you Catalina Island, the Catalina Island Airport. Why am I going out here? Again, look what they're showing, remnants of the 5.0 earthquake down in the Imperial Valley, right here after 5 o'clock this morning. All the rest that you see here are microquakes and tremors here on Catalina Island out in the ocean west of Los Angeles. Okay? Just west of LA. There's a couple more I want to show you here. Let me look. Oh, gosh, where are they? I thought I was going to show you another one or two here. Hold on, I'm sure I can find it here. Maybe not. Maybe not. Okay. Oh, here, the Channel Islands. Look at this. This is interesting. This is very interesting. For the most part, most of this is just minor tremors and some minor earthquakes. Okay? For example, up here, this is a 2.0 earthquake here. There are 2.0 earthquakes all over this area. This is a 2.0 earthquake here this afternoon. This is after 3:04 p.m. this afternoon, a 2.0 earthquake. Most of this is tremors. We see a 2.0 earthquake here. We see another 2.0 earthquake here, another here, and down here we have a 2.8, 2.9 earthquake here. I don't think this is a 3.0. I think this is a 2.8, 2.9 earthquake here. This is after 2:56 p.m. this afternoon. A 2.8, 2.9 earthquake here in the Channel Islands, just off the coast of LA. This is the first near small earthquake here. I don't think we've ever had a 3.0 earthquake here at the Channel Islands, let alone a 2.8, 2.9. That's how close this earthquake is here. This seismic energy is coming out of Los Angeles. The seismic energy here is coming out of LA. Okay? Now let's go into LA really briefly. I want to start off at the Baldwin Hills. This is an oil and gas pumping operation in northwestern Los Angeles. We're still seeing the remnants of the 5.0 earthquake here from the Imperial Valley. This is the northwestern side of Los Angeles, the Baldwin Hills. The oil and gas pumping operation that you saw in the 1985 movie, The Great LA Earthquake. Okay? It's huge. Okay? It's huge. Now, for time element's sake, I want to take you to Chino first, northeast of LA. Chino, California. Here in Chino, we're still seeing remnants of the 5.0 earthquake from the Imperial Valley. All the way north up here, that earthquake was felt and seen by the seismograph. The seismograph picked it up and showed it here. This case, we're having tremors and minor earthquakes. Yes, we're having some 2.0 earthquakes here. We're seeing a 2.0 earthquake here, another 2.3, 2.4 earthquake here, 2.0 probably here, and another one here. All the rest of these are all tremors here. All tremors. But we're still seeing remnants of the Imperial Valley quake here. Okay? Northeastern LA, huh? Wild. How about Eastern LA? How about Fontana, California? We've had earthquakes here. Earthquakes originated from Fontana here. I'm going to show you more earthquakes here. Up here at the top on the left-hand side, again, elements of the 5.0 earthquake from the Imperial Valley. Here, right here, we're seeing a 2.0 earthquake. 2.7, 2.8 earthquake right here on the blue line. This comes from just after 5:30, probably closer to 5:39, 5:40 this morning, right there. Okay? 2.8, 2.9 probably. Okay? It's happening. We're seeing a lot of color here, right? We're almost seeing no white from the paper. We're almost seeing no white from the paper. That's how much seismic energy we have here. Fontana, California, guys. Yes, last week we're seeing 3.0, 3.4 earthquakes here in Fontana. Now we're seeing probably 2.0 to 2.8 earthquakes here, except down here at the bottom. Again, this is after 3:05 p.m. this afternoon. This is a 3.0 earthquake here in Fontana. A 3.0 earthquake here in Fontana, California. Yes, we're having some 2.0 earthquakes here. 2.8, 2.9 earthquake right here. This is 2:40, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2:48 p.m. here. A near 3.0 earthquake right here. Okay? That's a lot of energy. In prior months, the biggest thing we could see is some minor tremors. Now we're seeing full-blown earthquakes in Fontana, California. Incredible. I thought we'd never see this kind of activity. Never. Never, never, ever. I'm going over to northeastern LA, Loma Linda, Mira Loma, California. Yes, we've seen earthquakes here in Mira Loma and Loma Linda before. Now or today, we're not seeing anything but tremors. Just a few weeks ago, we were seeing 3.0 earthquakes here in Mira Loma and Loma Linda. Mira Loma is just south of Loma Linda where the medical center is, world-renowned medical center. Today, we're just seeing tremors except here at the top. This is remnants of the Imperial Valley quake here. Right here is remnants of the Imperial Valley quake. The seismogram caught it. Like I said, that earthquake was recorded way up north of Los Angeles, north and east, and all the way down into Mexico. And Mexico is where we have a swarm of quakes. Now, I want to take you over just north of LA again, over to Rio Hondo, California. This is what they call a bedroom community, except there are some businesses here. Again, up here at the start of this seismogram here, we're seeing remnants of the Imperial Valley quake here. Here you're seeing a bunch of tremors. I don't think we have even minor earthquakes here. But left to right, top to bottom here on this seismogram, we're seeing nothing but tremors. This is a very busy seismogram. A lot of seismic activity at Rio Hondo. Okay? I want to take you over to Moore Park, also northwest from LA. Look at this. This is a different story. Here we're still seeing up here at the top left remnants of the Imperial Valley quake. However, this is different. Moore Park is having its own quakes. For example, this one here. This is after 7:20, about 7:20 a.m. this morning. Guess what? This looks to be a 2.8 earthquake here. 2.0 earthquake here. 2.0 earthquakes here. 2.0 earthquakes here. Here, all over the place. Yes, we're having tremors as well, but minor earthquakes all over, except for this one here. This is after 2:30 this afternoon. Right here, 1, 2, 3, 4. After 2:34 this afternoon, the top and the bottom of this quake sequence is cut off. That means this quake was larger than they're showing it to be. This earthquake was a 3.5 earthquake here. A 3.5 earthquake in Moore Park, California. Yes, LA does get hit with earthquakes. LA does get hit, generating its own earthquakes. Okay? Now, I'm going to take you south. I want to show you San Diego, California. I want to go over here and show you western San Diego County, western San Diego City. This is at the San Diego Gas and Electric Building in Mission Valley, San Diego. My stepsons were over here earlier this week. Again, up here at the top, we're showing remnants of the 5.0 earthquake in the Imperial Valley, showing it here in San Diego City. Look here, we have tremors all over the place. We have tremors all over the place, except for right here. We have a large earthquake here. This looks to be a 2.8 earthquake right here on this black line. Look here, also on this black line. This is after 9:02 a.m. this morning. Again, we can't see the bottom for whatever reason, but this appears to be a 2.8, 2.9 earthquake. This also here, after 9:16 a.m. here, is a 2.6, 2.8 earthquake here. San Diego City. San Diego City is having its own quakes. This location of the gas and electric building here is on the Rose Canyon Fault. The Rose Canyon Fault is capable of a major 7.0 quake. No, we didn't get anywhere close to that here, but we're seeing 2.8 to 3.0 earthquakes here in San Diego City. Incredible, huh? Now, I want to go out to East San Diego County, because out in East San Diego County, we're not seeing everything else that happened that is being recorded over in San Diego City, East San Diego County. This is the Chocolate Mountains. Cuyamaca High School. Cuyamaca High School. We're still seeing remnants of the Imperial Valley quake. Why is it not showing as much as San Diego City? Inquiring minds want to know. Is this an altered seismogram? Possibly. Even downtown San Diego City, we saw much more seismic activity than here at Cuyamaca High School on top of the Chocolate Mountains. All the rest of this is all tremors here. I don't think there's even some minor earthquakes here. This is all tremors over here in the Chocolate Mountains. The Chocolate Mountains are dividing San Diego City from the Imperial Valley. Because of time, I'm going to skip over the rest of San Diego City and San Diego County. I'm going over now and show you, well, right before I do that, I want to go over to Los Angeles again, along the northwest coast of LA. Playa del Rey and Marina del Rey. This is a very exclusive area. A lot of people with a lot of money live here. Look what's here. Again, remnants of the Imperial Valley quake is up here at the top left. Interesting, huh? Way out here to the northwest of LA, we're still seeing the Imperial Valley quake. Unreal. Unreal. After that, we see nothing but tremors, minor tremors. But what happens here? What happens here starting off about 9:15 this morning? All of a sudden, over here along the coast of Los Angeles area, we're seeing 3.0 earthquakes. Look at this. All over this area. For several hours here. From 9:15 all the way down here to nearly 11 a.m. this morning. Then again, after 12:15, 12:30 this afternoon, what happened? Again, we're seeing 3.0 earthquakes here. All day long here. All afternoon here. I'm showing you right now all the way up here to 3:19 p.m. this afternoon. 3:19, actually, let's go over here. 3:13 over here, the seismic energy dwindled to nothing more than tremors. But prior to that, look at all this 3.0 activity. The earth was shaking, guys. The earth all over Los Angeles was shaking. All the way over to northwestern LA. Playa del Rey, Marina del Rey. Shaking like nothing else. Let us go over to Imperial Valley, though. I want to start off with Juanito. Juanito lives in El Centro. I want to show you this seismogram here. El Centro, California. Look at this here at the top left. The bottom of this seismic sequence was cut off. They do not want us to see the full impact of this earthquake. This was at least a 5.0 earthquake. Felt all the way into northern Los Angeles, all the way up into Chino, and all over the desert areas of San Diego County and Imperial County. Look at this. 5.0 earthquake. Guess what? That's busy. That's busy. This started before 5 a.m. this morning. This started before 5 a.m. this morning. I don't have the seismogram prior to this. It doesn't show it. But this one does. A 5.0 earthquake here. El Centro, California. You're seeing it here. The earthquake lasted 1, 2, 3, 4 minutes. Then the secondary wave started here, all the way over here. It kept going all the way over here until we have another earthquake here. This is a 3.0 earthquake right here. Then we come all the way over here to the left, or to the right, I'm sorry. This here is 5:29 a.m. right here. 5:29, this is another 3.0 earthquake. El Centro has been producing 3.0 earthquakes for quite a while now. You can see all these long lines here, all throughout the seismogram here. These are at least 3.0 earthquakes or larger. This one here. Let's look at this. This one over on the left would be 1230 on the left. We go to over here to the right. This is about 12:24 p.m. this afternoon. This appears to be a 3.4, 3.5 earthquake right here. We have 3.0 earthquake here, 3.0 earthquake here, 3.0 earthquake here. El Centro has been seeing 3.0 small earthquakes up to 3.5 earthquakes for quite some time. This is El Centro, California. That's not all, folks. Wait, what I'm going to show you next. This may blow your mind. Let's go down to southeastern part of the Imperial Valley. This is Holtville, California. I've been here. I did a speech and debate tournament in Holtville, California a lot of years ago. Here is remnants of that same 5.0 earthquake. Look at that. This was the largest all over Imperial County. This was centered in the Imperial Valley. Look what we're seeing here. After that happens, the secondary wave started right about here, about 5:05 a.m. this morning. The secondary wave comes all the way over here with a 2.3 earthquake here, and over here, I believe we probably had a 3.0 earthquake here. After that, it was tremors. All kinds of tremors, except for right here. This is a 2.4, 2.5 earthquake here. Minor earthquake. A 3.0 earthquake here, where my cursor is right here, that little arrow cursor. 3.0 earthquake here. This here may have been a 2.0, 2.2 earthquake here. This probably here was a 2.2, 2.3 over here to the right. This is 4:29 p.m., or not 2:29 p.m. this afternoon. This is a 2.0, 2.2 quake. Over here to the left-hand side. This is nearly 3:01 p.m. this afternoon. This is a 2.8 earthquake here. Tremors and earthquakes throughout this seismogram. This is Holtville, California, on the south central part of Imperial Valley. Incredible, huh? We've just gotten started. Let's go over to Salton City. Salton City here. This is over on the northwestern central part of the Salton Sea. Again, we're still seeing remnants of the 5.0 earthquake in the southern part of the Imperial Valley. It's still showing here. Here we're not seeing anything but long-term tremors. Long-term tremors here. That's it. But we've just gotten started. How about up in northeastern part of the Salton Sea? Let's look at this one. Again, over here at North Shore Salton Sea. This is the northeastern part of the Salton Sea. Okay, there's a small city here, probably about 10,000 people all over the area. Look what's going on here. Over to the top left, we still have remnants of the 5.0 earthquake that happened about 50 miles to the southwest. Over here on the left-hand side. This is the 5.0 earthquake just about 50 miles southwest of here. All the rest of this area is tremors. Tremor all over the place. Minute to minute, hour to hour, all day long. Okay? Then, that's all, folks. There's more. I showed you Salton City. Now let's go down to where the quake happened. Westmoreland, California, just south of the Salton Sea to the west. This is where the earthquake happened. The bottom of this quake sequence was cut off here. This was a 5.0 earthquake here in the Imperial Valley. 5.0 earthquake here in the Imperial Valley. Like I said, I believe it started just about 4:55 this morning, and it continued after 5 a.m. A large 5.0 earthquake. After that earthquake happened, all we have here is tremors. All we have here is tremors. Very surprising. Very, very surprising. Now I'm going to show you another one. Where'd it go? Right here. This is southeastern Imperial Valley. This is Calipatria. This is actually a USGS seismogram. A USGS seismogram. Now I'm going to enlarge this so you can truly see what's happening. This seismogram started just before 4 p.m. yesterday afternoon right here. Yes, we had some tremors here. We have tremors off and on. But folks, USGS has turned this seismogram down or nearly off. Usually all over this seismogram we have nothing more than larger tremors and minor earthquakes. We're not seeing that here. There's a dimple here. There's just barely more than a dimple here, a dimple here, and here. Here's where we start seeing an earthquake here. What I believe has happened here at Calipatria, the seismologists turned down the seismograph. They turned down the seismograph, and the strength of the earthquakes is just barely making it through the turn down. This is a 2.4, 2.5 earthquake right here. This may have been a larger quake. The same thing here. The red lines are introduced by the computer. The red lines are generated by the computer. But the earthquake strength are the same. Notice on this particular case, the top and the bottom of this seismic sequence has been cut off. This may have been a 3.0 earthquake, small 3.0 earthquake. Now, before we get down to 5 o'clock this morning, I want to show you what's going on. Right here, over on the left-hand side, it will be 1:30. We come over here. This is 1:43 this morning. Again, the top and the bottom of the sequence have been cut off. The earthquake lasted all the way over here. You see the red lines here? The seismic energy from the main epicenter of the quake lasted here. A minute and a half long. That's a lot of shaking for at least a 3.0 earthquake. How do I know that? Look at the right-hand side here. The right-hand side is a secondary wave. The secondary wave lasts over here at the 1:30 blue line here. The 1:30 blue line here. Isn't this interesting? Isn't this interesting? The secondary wave lasted over here a minute and a half, almost a minute and a half here. Here it lasts a full minute here, a full minute here, and goes out here and even out here. 4 minutes right here, another minute and a quarter here. That means the secondary wave was lasting 5 minutes long. This earthquake was at least a 3.0, if not a 3.5 earthquake right here. Then over here, after that, this is after 2:15 this morning. This is 2:05, 2:06 this morning, and we have a 2.8 earthquake here. We have tremors on the beginning side and tremors after it, meaning the secondary wave. Then we come down here. Okay, I just can't wait to show you this. over here. This is 4:45 a.m. here. Actually, 4:44 a.m. right here. 4:44 a.m. today. This is where that 5.0 earthquake got started. There is a full minute plus right here. The top and the bottom of this sequence were cut off. The same thing here. The top and the bottom were cut off. This quake sequence lasted all the way over to here. 4 minutes long. Just over 4 minutes long, guys. A 5.0 earthquake. And yes, it appears that we have some stranglers here, meaning some minor earthquakes in here between the 5.0 earthquake, and we had another earthquake here. 5 minutes worth of shaking, and it was a 5.0 earthquake. A 5.0 earthquake. And they cut off the earthquake sequence so we wouldn't know exactly how strong it is. You can see it. Starts over here at 4:44 this morning. I'm sorry, 4:59 this morning here. Then it comes over here after 5 a.m. Look at this. That's huge. It's huge. Look at these other earthquakes here. Top and the bottom cut off here. This is probably a 3.0 sequence here. Top and the bottom here. Probably a 30 or 3.0 earthquake here. 3.0 earthquake here, 3.0 there, 3.0 there. A lot of 3.0 small quakes. These are all aftershocks of this big quake that hit here this morning. Does anybody have any questions about anything I've shown you here? This is big time. This is big time. If USGS wants to not show us information, this is how they do it. They cover it up. They cover it up. This is a long time of shaking. It would not surprise me that Juanito felt this quake shake. Okay? It happened just northeast of him. Lena Villicano says, yes, that's a long time. Yes, it surely is. Aubrey says, my guess as well is just pulsating. Yes, it's pulsating too. Okay? The pulsating starts right in this area here. This is a secondary wave. Monier's Wrath says, he missed the location. This is in the Imperial Valley. This seismogram is Calipatria, California, on the southeast side of the Salton Sea. But we're showing you the full earthquake. It started over here at 5:59 a.m. here, or I'm sorry, 4:59 a.m. here. 4:59 a.m. right here, and it continued after 5 a.m. right here. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's huge. That's huge. We've talked about earthquakes happening here. In this case, the USGS has lied through their teeth. The USGS over on the USGS map is not even showing this earthquake. You have to come over here to the seismograms. To the seismograms in the Imperial Valley to see this quake. And it was felt all the way up into Los Angeles. The seismograms prove it. The seismograms prove it, guys. The seismograms are still showing 3.5 to 4.0 energy in northern Los Angeles. That's big time. Monier's Wrath says that sure would collapse a lot of tunnels, wouldn't it? Yes, it would. But this here is not showing underground military tunnels. This is actually an earthquake in southwestern Imperial Valley. Not southwestern, south central Imperial Valley, just south of the Salton Sea. That's huge. That's huge. Does anybody have any questions for me? I know I've gone over 2 hours, but I had a lot of information to share, and I thought it was important. Does anybody have any questions for me? Aubrey's asking, do you think they'll eventually stop showing seismograms? Yeah, I do. Because that's how USGS, and not just USGS, but the other agencies. Caltech. Some of these seismograms you saw here are from Caltech. Not all of them. Caltech has been taking down seismograms too. US has been doing it a lot longer. The Pacific Northwest Seismic Network up in Washington, Oregon have been doing this for a long time. They take seismograms completely down. They turn off seismographs. They turn off seismographs down here as well. I've seen it happen. Aubrey, that was a great question. Now, I talked to Rob that you see here in our chat. Rob's not just one of my mods here, he's one of my best friends. He and Don and several of the rest of you. I talked to Rob earlier today. This is serious. This is serious. I told you all that we're expecting a major quake in Southern California. This may be the beginning of it. We've shown you an awful lot of earthquakes in Los Angeles and all over the LA Valley out into the desert. I've now shown you a lot of earthquakes here in the Imperial Valley. All over. I also showed you a 50 earthquake swarm in northern Mexico. The swarm has gotten larger. It started off with 20 earthquakes last week. We had a 20 earthquake swarm in northern Mexico last week. Now we have a 50 earthquake swarm in northern Mexico now. Okay? It's crazy. Laura Marie says most people in Oregon have zero concern about volcanoes and earthquakes. They're not getting any information about them. No, they're not. Nobody's talking. USGS is not reporting everything or anything. USGS is not talking to the news stations up in the Pacific Northwest. Yes, there are TV stations and radio stations that have talked about earthquakes and earthquake preparedness. They have done that because there have been some large and very strong 6.0, 6.9 earthquakes up near Seattle. There have been quite a few of them. That is the only reason that the news stations up in Seattle and Portland have even talked about it. The only reason. One of my friends, Marf, over on Marfugal News, he early last year, went over to a beach area in Washington State. He interviewed quite a few people, including police and firefighters. The police and firefighters, the main first responders during a major quake, the people that would be in there rescuing people, didn't know anything about the Cascadia coming quake. They didn't know anything about what's going on because they're not being told any information. Aubrey is saying, Aubrey used to live in the Pacific Northwest. Aubrey is saying negligent homicide. Negligent homicide. Yes, the USGS and the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network should be charged with negligent homicide after the fact because they are not telling anybody what's going on. Linda Covington says, can you tell me a bedtime story? Yes, I could. Yes, I could. Yes, I'll tell you a bedtime story. Boy, that was a neat way to get into my devotional. Yeah, let me tell you a bedtime story, guys. I want to go over to St. Mark, the book of Mark in the New Testament. I don't often quote scriptures from Mark, but I'm going to do it tonight. I'm going to go over to chapter 14, starting with verse 1, going into verse 2. This is the time where Christ is anointed with oil. He eats a Passover meal. He institutes a sacrament. He suffers in Gethsemane in this chapter. He's betrayed by Judas at the Last Supper. He is falsely accused, and Peter denies that he knew them. Peter denies that he knew him. Verse 1. After 2 days was the feast of the Passover and of unleavened bread. And the chief priests and the scribes sought how they might take him by craft and put him to death. But they said, not on the feast day, lest there be an uproar of the people. Even evil people of Christ's day were fearful that there would be a revolution. The scribes and the Pharisees refused to take him on the day of the feast. Isn't that interesting about what's going on today in our own world? Isn't that interesting about what's going on today in our own world? Even in our own world, the bad guys are afraid to do anything. The bad guys are afraid to do anything in the daylight. They're refusing to remove a president of the United States for wrongdoing. But the president of the United States and his entire administration have been trying to remove a former president who's running against them in the election, the upcoming election. And he's a very popular ex-president, and it appears to me that he's going to win. But this president of the United States that's in office now has openly in the daylight made overtures to go after President Trump, even enough to kill him. Yes, there have been assassination attempts on President Trump. He's been taken to court and beat up on. And in fact, this last week, President Trump not just got beat up on, but criminal elements from New York City that were in the jury convicted President Trump. There were at least 2 jurors, from what I hear, that did not want to convict. And yet, what Judge said was it was a complete and full indictment. The judge himself was evil. The judge himself should have been taken down. He wasn't. He was there to prosecute a case. He was there to prosecute a case. And he did come after the President of the United States, the former president. Incredible. During daylight hours. Yes, they subverted the news. They did everything to cover it up. But in the final days and hours, they convicted the former president. Now we wait to see what's going to happen. It's sad. But this is the same way they treated Jesus Christ. But in Jesus Christ's time, they waited until after the feast to go after him. Then they did everything to take him down. They didn't take him down right away either. This is what happens. This is what happens, ladies and gentlemen. It's a sad day. It's a sad day. Brothers and sisters, we're after the feast of the Passover. Right now, we need to do our best and keep praying. We need to do our best to stay in touch with the Lord and know where we are and when the Lord needs us. We need to be doing our best to share the gospel of Jesus Christ as well. We need to share the gospel of Jesus Christ. Yes, I believe Joseph was also jailed. Brothers and sisters, the time is now. The time is now. Max says we have freedom in America, just barely. Most of our rights have been taken away. Brothers and sisters, it's a time for prayer, it's a time for fasting, and it's a time for renewing our covenants with God. Doing the best things we can do to make sure we're right with God before the judgment on the world takes place, and it's coming. It's coming. It's not just here in the United States, it's all over the world. What happened started here in the United States and has spread literally all over the world. May God bless us. May God be with us. We need to pray and pray for the Lord's Spirit to be with us. The Holy Ghost will only be with us if we're worthy. If we are worthy. It's time to make that happen. It is time to make that happen. May God bless us. May the Lord's Spirit be with us to direct us in the ways that He would have us go. May we take back our countries. May we take back our states, cities, and provinces. May we turn this crap that's gone on off. God be with you until we meet again. We will see you on the other side. Good night, everybody. I love you very much. We'll see you tomorrow night, if not before. Good night.